the way we've worked, which is the opposite of having 8 scripts. You barely get the first one. And then you think, oh.
It's different every season.
Okay, and it's different every season, so it's not even a character you've established ever before. But I love that kind of tornado. I love that chaos of not knowing where it's going, because it forces you, I think, as an actor to really live within the imagination rather than the idea of like, okay, this is, you know, you get a script, you've got the first act, second act, third act, and you can see what the character is going to do, and you start to imagine how you're going to do it and get there and all of that. But this way of working, to me, has been so wild and so unstructured and so chaotic that I've found that the work itself has become more interesting within that insanity.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the most death-defying scene. It takes but a split second for this knife to travel from my fingertips to the edge of the wheel. A split second that separates life from death.
I never think about the scene the night before anymore. I never like figure out where it's going to go, learn the lines sitting in the makeup trailer, and then hit the, you know, hit the stage, and it's amazing what comes. And it is so much more interesting to me to work that way than...
That TV affords you that.
Well, yeah, especially this kind of TV where you don't know really, I mean, from one moment to another where your character is going. Or suddenly, you know, the backstory is introduced and you discover that, you know, you've had your legs amputated in
Or you were a man!
in a snuff film back in, like, the Weimar Republic. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, that makes it more interesting.
Ryan Murphy was always throwing curveballs your direction.
Yeah, I've been in the process of retiring for the last 30 years, so...
You're really doing poorly at it, by the way.
I know, but it's becoming more and more imminent. I mean, I realize next year I will have been doing this for 40 years, which seems like many lifetimes. I think about, like, having it finish at some point, you know, really saying, okay, I've done this for 40 years. It's been great, but now I'm done, you know, and maybe moving on to something entirely different. My kids always say, you've been retiring since we've known you. It's true. I mean, but, you know, I think maybe there is a finite time. There is an end date, you know, so I think about it a lot, actually. But the thing about acting is, you know, it's so seductive. You know, you get drawn into something and it's like, oh, yeah, this is, you know, it's like a love affair. It's like there's something really alive about it, and you feel great, and it's, you know, it's physical, and it's all these things, and then you remember why you were doing it to begin with, and that it can still seduce you after 40 years, which is, yeah.
What would you do? Like, what do you fantasize about doing if you actually did?
Well, it's like, you know, you were saying, I mean, I've only done 2 things in my life. I've been a waitress and I've been an actress.
Yep.
And waitressing was not anywhere near as interesting. No.
To say the least.
But I don't know, I would do something so far afield. I even thought about, what if I went and studied to be a falconer? You know?
Amazing. That's the greatest answer ever.
I actually read a script about a falconer.
Really? Well,
Which you should read. Then you don't have to actually become
Then I
a
don't have to
falconer.
be one. I can just pretend, which is what... I mean, at a certain point, you do think, I've been pretending for decades now. And that's what I love most about it, is that you're still childlike in that way of, like, make-believe, you know? So maybe that's the answer. Maybe I don't have to become a falconer. It sounded like a lot of work.